Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mother-Daughter Mixtape, where we talk everything love, life, and lessons learned along the way. My name is Charmaine.
And my name is Jada.
And welcome to our podcast.
Social media is stripping you of your confidence and your identity, and we're going to talk about why today. As we know, social media is a beast in and of itself. Between scrolling endlessly, doom scrolling, as they call it, comparing our lives to others. I mean, there are just so many pros and cons of social media. So we're going to tackle all of that in today's conversation. So grab some gingerbread cookies, get comfy, and let's hit play on today's episode.
Boom.
All right.
So you normally ask me how I'm doing first.
Uh-huh.
We're going to flip the script today.
Okay.
How you doing?
Girl, I'm tired.
Why are you so tired?
I just think it's that time of the year where we're just starting to see that slowdown period. So it's and the holidays bring a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So, and
it takes a lot of energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just people are thinking about gift giving around Christmas time and spending money. And I just took my car to the dealership and they telling me I need new tires.
Listen.
I'm just
adulting.
Yeah.
It's ghetto.
It's real ghetto out here. Who signed up for this? Because I know I didn't. Did I sign a contract at birth?
You did. You just don't remember.
Oh, okay. You didn't get a video or a picture or nothing, huh?
Well, back then, it was...
Y'all were... Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Y'all weren't as technologically
savvy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it would have been nice to have something to look back on, I guess.
I mean, it's okay.
It's not though. So, but I'm doing okay. Happy to be here. Happy to, continue to put out some good conversations for our podcast, for our listeners. I just also want to take a quick brief moment to say thank you guys so much for rocking with us. We have hit 100 followers on Instagram. Woo-hoo. Soon it'll be 100,000 followers.
And that, speak it into existence.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been good so far. So far, so good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited about that too. Just to see us, continuously and consistently grow. So we thank y'all for that. And, just ask you to keep hope alive, keep pushing our content, keep liking, sharing, subscribing, tell your friends, your family. So we're just grateful in this, our first season. So thank you.
Facts. Yeah. How are you feeling?
It's been up and down. Mm-hmm. It's been up and down. Like you said, this time of year can bring, joyous feelings, with the holidays and things like that. But at the same time, when you are single and, you don't have that special person to, do things go see the Christmas lights or, just go grab some eggnog, or not that I like eggnog.
I was going to say, you don't even like eggnog. She's just talking, y'all.
It sounds good in theory, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess for the holiday time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So anyway, you just, think about those things a little more around holidays, not just Thanksgiving, Christmas, but just special occasions, I'll say, even for your birthday and things like that. You just kind of want to have somebody around, right?
Yeah. Quick tangent. Okay. I have this one thing that I've always wanted to do with a lover whenever I find the love of my life. Do you have one of those things for the holidays at all? Something that's a bucket list item for you once you find that person during the holidays?
Wow. I can't say that I have something off the top of my head, but what I will say that the first thing comes to mind, I wouldn't call it a bucket list thing, but the first thing that comes to mind is Christmas pajamas. I want pictures in Christmas pajamas. I don't know when that trend started, but I have always enjoyed seeing other people's Christmas pictures in front of their tree and the whole family has on their pajama sets. I just think that's so cute and adorable. So
yeah, I agree. Especially when they have the itty bitty babies and their dogs dressed up and stuff. Yeah, that's super cute.
Yeah.
I asked because when you were bringing up doing things with your lover and seeing Christmas lights and stuff like that, my bucket list thing for whenever I find the love of my life and things like that would be to experience Christmas in New York.
Okay.
So like snow,
Cold.
I know, but like the big Christmas lights, especially like Times Square, and I know what is that area called where they have the Christmas tree in the
Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
I would love to.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. I don't like the cold like that, but I could see doing something like that where you're all bundled up and looking cute with your
Hot
little
chocolate. Yeah. Like I would. That's a bucket list item for me. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
I like that.
okay. All right, so we can start to shift into today's conversation. Like I said, we're talking about social media and how I don't think people realize how much social media really can take a toll on your mental health.
For sure.
Especially like we talked about mental health recently within the last couple of episodes. And, you know, I just think that it's important to talk about how like social media really can be a pro, but also bring a lot of cons in people's lives.
Yeah, if you don't really like watch and pay attention to the stuff that you're like intaking,
Consuming, right.
Yeah, like it just can easily put you in a place, you know, good or bad. So really having to monitor your intake and setting, I don't want to say boundaries, but like time limits, if you will, and things like that. I'm sure we'll get into all that. But yeah, social media, I won't say it was a godsend at first, but it was a way, like initially before you had like Facebook and all that, it was a way for me, at least back then, to keep up with and to reconnect with people I hadn't seen in a long time.
Right.
So it was an easy way to, especially people that don't live like in your immediate area, it was an easy way to just reconnect with folks, people I went to high school with, people I went to college with, people I used to work with. So I think initially it started out as this great thing of a way to reconnect, but it has turned into like so much more.
Right. And it's so interesting that you bring that up because, yeah, when I think about like social media now and I think about what you just mentioned, how it was for y'all then, it's nowhere near that where you're just like reconnecting with people or like trying to stay in touch with people that you're not as close in proximity with like physically.
Yeah.
Because I think with like things like Facebook, when I first started to get on Facebook when I was younger, it was so that I can stay in contact with like my classmates and things like that versus now with like Instagram now being a part of Facebook and, you know, obviously it's curated as we know, you know, people are following influencers and, you know, people are finding like different pages to follow. And I kind of want to touch on this a little bit and we could touch on it, you know, a little bit later on, but there are obviously like blogs and stuff like that. The Shade Room, girl, I had to block them.
Really?
Yes. Because
I will lie, I watch them not because I want to, but because it just shows up in my feed like religiously. It's almost like just news to me, like pop culture news. I don't go looking for it, but it just shows up. And I'll be honest, that's one of the ways that I stay current on like the gossip that's going on in the world, you know?
Yeah. And pros and cons.
Yeah.
If you know that that's the way that you're going to stay up to date with certain things, sure. But I've found for myself personally, and even for people, you know, that look like me or are in the same age group, Black women, Black men, it's like that page specifically, like you said, is pop culture, but it's mostly us, you know, Black people. And a lot of it, like you said, is drama related. It's like, it almost paints the picture to other people, other races, other groups, whatever, that's all we know how to do.
Yeah.
And again, if that's all you're consuming, obviously it's not, but if that's a majority of what you're consuming and things like that, that can take a toll on you mentally.
Yeah, it can definitely give you like a negative connotation of an entire race,
right?
Even, and yeah, that can definitely be detrimental.
So I kind of want to talk a little bit about like how social media kind of is curated or was created to be psychologically to keep people addicted. You know what I mean? Because obviously, even, and it used to be, Instagram back in the day used to be that you follow the people that you follow.
Right.
And then once you run out of their content, you done for the day, girl, unless you refresh and somebody done posted in the last 5 minutes with you scrolling. But now you're getting any and everything recommended, explore page things, and
sponsored
it's like
ads, all kinds of stuff.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
It's literally never ending. So it's like, again, like you said earlier, you have to be a bit more mindful, but that's hard when you're just sitting on your phone scrolling.
Yeah, you want to know, like, It's interesting that you say that. One of the things, like I've been through a period probably in the last year and a half to 2 years where I was doing that doom scrolling and, just the things that were showing up in my feed. I was getting tired of it. So I had to curate my own feed. And it takes a while for that
algorithm to catch up.
Exactly. So it's almost like, do you just get off and do this detox? That's hard. Like when you are used to scrolling every day, to not even do it for 24 hours is hard. Like, when we go on vacation, like we go on these cruises.
You ain't got no internet.
We don't have any internet for we could be cruising for 2 days at a time where, and I'm not going to buy the internet package. Like it's not that serious to me. Right. But we're cruising for 2 days before we get to the next port where we have nothing. And I still find myself going to Facebook, going to Instagram, knowing good and well, I'm not going to be able to pull up my feed or whatever, but it's such a habit that you don't even realize that you're doing it.
Yeah. I was going to say that too. It's a mindless habit. Like you said, you don't realize you're doing it because you're literally so used to just as soon as you grab your phone, the first thing you do is check social media most of the times. I think the biggest thing is, like you said, setting boundaries. And I've watched the videos on YouTube where people are like, you're addicted to social media. This is what you need to do to help you get out of that. And I've implemented probably one out of maybe the 3 or 4 things that I've seen have commonality amongst other videos. One of the things that I did, like you said, was put the time boundaries on those apps specifically. So Apple, you can go in your settings and put a timer or whatever on whatever apps you choose.
Right.
So I grouped Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Threads, maybe, X, formerly known as Twitter. And I group those together, and I have a 2-hour limit on my phone. So
is that 2 hours at a time or 2 hours for the day?
For the day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it'll give you a notification saying, once you're getting to your 2 hours, hey, you have 5 minutes left of scrolling. So once you're done, we're going to lock these apps.
Oh, wow.
And then you'll get a screen that basically says, okay, you're out of your time or whatever. Do you want to scroll for another minute? Do you want a reminder in 15 minutes? Or do you just want to turn it off altogether so you can go back to scrolling mindlessly?
Well, basically. At least it's just giving you the option to make a decision. So ultimately it's still up to you.
Right.
But at least you have that thing that's kind of tapping you on the shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
But also it's when I got so used to that, and we talked a little bit about this, where it's you want to have reminders for certain things so that you can be a better person for your habits and all this other stuff, and then that thing is coming and you just snooze it. And you're just mindlessly okay, turn on for the rest of the day.
Right.
Turn on for the rest of the day every time it pops up.
So you're basically negating everything that you're trying to do.
Right. So again, it just falls into you have to be more mindful with stuff like that, because if you don't, it's almost robotic. You just fall into the habit of just snoozing, and you don't even realize that you're doing it because you're just scroll. Yeah. So another thing that somebody suggested was to put your phone in black and white, basically. I forget the main term or whatever when you go in your settings, but basically put your entire phone on black and white so that the icons, the colors, and all that other stuff, it feeds our brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So putting that in black and white so that when you do go to Instagram and your phone's in black and white, it's not as appealing to scroll.
It's not going to look the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Because your brain is this is boring.
Yeah.
Even if it is a whole bunch of pictures of people, it's these pictures are ugly, all black and white, no color.
Yeah. So. I mean, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Are there, first, are there other, what are the other options or suggestions that they make to help you kind of get to a point of giving yourself that break? So the time limit, the black and white, you said there might be 3 or 4. Are there others that you want to mention?
I don't remember. Those are the main 2 that.
Okay, no worries. Are there any links that you want to share for people who...
Yeah, I can put the links to the creators that I saw on YouTube for things like that, and put the videos in the description on YouTube and Spotify and Apple. So those links will be available.
Yeah, I just want to, make sure that we're sharing, not only are we sharing our thoughts about it, but sharing information
And resources,
so
right.
yeah, for people who want to do something about it and want to get to a place of not doom scrolling all day. And some people just don't, like I didn't know, like I hadn't gone out and looked to see, okay, how can I help myself not scroll all day? Like I didn't think to do that, but knowing that there are resources out there, I think we should share that.
Yeah, absolutely. More than willing and happy to do that. So another thing I wanted to talk about as it relates to social media as well, we know comparison is the thief of joy, honey.
Which is why I try not to do it.
Right. It's hard.
Operative word, try.
Right. And a lot of the times too, I don't think we realize we do that when it comes to, just scrolling on social media, especially, and I'm going to briefly touch on this too with like dating. You see people in their happy relationships and stuff like that. And
it's
you
like,
think to yourself,
I want that.
I want that. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the fact that social media is curated.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, and I want to say as it should be. I mean, to a certain point, like, I just think that, like, I'm not going to go out and share my worst photos, my worst moments. I mean, you got some people who they will, get on social media and cry, but that's because they're trying to gain a certain audience or they're trying to go viral or, there's a method or a reason, right? But for the most part, we are trying to put our best selves out there, our best foot forward. Like, I'm not gonna go out there. I might have 30 pictures that I took, I might post 2.
Yeah.
So I think it's curated, and I think it should be. But I think people need to realize what you see is not the totality of whatever is going on in a person's life.
Right. And yeah, it's like going back to the relationship thing. People see like a couple and they're like, oh, this is the relationship I want. No, you don't. You don't know that.
You don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Okay. Like, you don't know how he or she is treating that person behind closed doors, how they're talking to each other and things like that. All you're seeing is a highlight reel, basically.
Yeah.
So I think people, like you said, just need to be mindful of the fact that, like, you're not getting the whole picture. You getting pictures, but you're not getting the whole picture.
Right.
Okay. So.
And not to say that people are faking and putting up a facade.
Some are.
I mean, yeah, for sure. There definitely are people out there who, they want you to think that everything is on the up and up and their life is in shambles. We're going to pray for those folks.
Yeah.
But I think when you are emotionally intelligent, I feel like or at least have some idea that people go through phases and cycles in their life. Somebody could be going through the best period, a whole year where their life is just amazing, and the next year or next month or whatever, they could be in a depressive state, maybe seasonal depression. We just talked about that. So I just think that when we see people posting and there's no reason to, first of all, be envious or jealous. Like, if you see something that the relationship that seemingly is like everything that you want, keep in mind, just celebrate it. But why can't we just celebrate it instead of being envious? So I don't know. I guess I just feel like you have to keep in mind all the things that could be.
Right.
Maybe it is all, glitz and glam and it's all great. Kudos. And like I said, just celebrate it. But don't get to a point where you are feeling inadequate because your life is not like that.
Yeah. And it's also just really unrealistic to think that everything that somebody posts is how their life is 24/7. Yeah. It's unrealistic. So I know we just keep saying, like, be mindful and things like that. It can be hard, especially when you're just scrolling, and you're just like, oh, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. I also want to talk a bit about how, like, people see their favorite influencers and whoever else, and then try to create their whole personality based off of that, or try to become somebody else almost.
Okay.
And I remember in one of our previous conversations, I think it was the second episode we did, when you asked me how can we make dating fun again, and I told you people need to get back to being their authentic selves. I think social media plays a large part in that.
I can see that.
Why people just don't, why people tend to not be themselves, I guess, because they see girls coming on here. I'm telling you, people go on social media and they're like, girl, do this, do that to wow this man. And I talked about this in the second episode, but I really just want to reiterate this, that stop taking unsolicited advice from random people on social media.
What? Say it again.
Stop taking unsolicited advice from random people on social media. Because these people just come on here and chat and talk and do that, and they get a check at the end of it. Them people, I'm not trying to make it seem like, you know, they don't care about their audience and stuff like that, but them people is just coming on here yapping.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of people out there who are trying to have the viral moment. So they're going to say and do things that will grab your attention, will make you want to share. Like, you know, they were saying like some of the craziest stuff out here,
things.
but you gonna share it because now you want to tell your opinion on what they said. So you're kind of, you know, perpetuating exactly what it is that they want you to.
Right.
So it's all
a game.
Well, yeah.
It's all a game. And it's, like I said, bleeding into dating and stuff like that. Like, girl, just be yourself. Like, I know you see Kim Kardashian and you're like, oh, she's so successful. She's this, she's that. I love this about her personality. And you try to like bite the style almost and try to take little bits and pieces and make it into your own. Just be yourself. You know what I mean?
And if that's not good enough, then guess what? That person isn't good for you.
Right.
Like, that it really hurts my heart when like we have these conversations and talking about how people, men and women, you know, are not their authentic selves. And I just feel like if I can't be me around you, I just don't want it. Like, I can't continue to put up this front, this facade, this representative, you know.
And with social media too, I feel like that's what it is too, is like we want our pages to look a certain way aesthetically to certain people. So I have a small story to tell. When I was on Instagram and around like high school time, when I first, you know, had one of my first Instagrams, I had 3,000 followers when I like first got into it. And then back in the day, we used to do those like good morning posts and like to be honest and all this to be real and all this other stuff. So I gained a lot of followers from that because people saw me, they thought I was cute, they wanted to follow me. Okay, cool. So I ended up having about 7,000 followers by the time it got deleted. So fast forward to about 2022, I had that page from, like I said, I was probably a freshman in high school when I made that page. So like 2014-ish to about 2022. So about 8 years I had that page. And once I started to really get into my fitness journey and stuff like that, I wanted to share that because I wanted to motivate people. I wanted people to, you know, join me if they wanted to and stuff like that. And I started to notice that I started to lose followers as I started to post myself in that regard. And it started to put me in a place because I'm like, oh, like I can't be my authentic self almost. Like I want to post myself and not feel a type of way if I lose some followers or something like that. So it came down to, I decided to delete the page altogether because I didn't want to feel like that, like on my own social media.
For your own mental health.
Right.
Like, I get that.
Like I literally was like, hey y'all, I'm starting a new page. If y'all want to join me, cool. If not, cooler. Like I'm going to start a new page because I want to, you know, showcase my workout journey. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't even deactivate the page. I deleted it altogether. 7,000 followers down the drain. Cool. Not even, you know, in a bad way of like, oh, I lost.
That's not
7,000.
your community.
It's not my community. It's not my audience. And that's okay. So now my Instagram page is sitting at 640 followers.
Okay.
But I'm able to post myself.
That's your community.
And feel confident. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I can be myself and feel confident about it. And then if I lose a follower here, a follower there, it doesn't bother me, because I know, like, majority of the people on that page are people that genuinely, you know, care about me, want to see my journey and things like that in every regard, whether it's traveling, fitness,
right,
you know, the podcast, you know, anything. I can be my authentic self. And yeah, like, I just, like I said, a small story to tell. Like, I just really think that people get so caught up in, like, the aesthetics of social media, and they want their page to look a type of way so that if somebody clicks on their name, they, you know, whoever's looking at it can enjoy what they're seeing and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, like you said, out of the 100 pictures I take, y'all gonna get the 5 best ones.
right.
Okay. But again, I want to still be my authentic self.
And that is, I mean, even though it's still curated, it doesn't mean that it's not authentic. And you say your little small story. It's not a small story. Like, it's your story. So, you know, I don't want you to minimize you or your story, right? So like I said, it's your community. The people that were originally following you, there must have been something that, I won't even say something they liked. It could have been something controversial, and I don't know. I don't remember. But, you know, we all have had, I think, those moments where we gain, like, I think I have over 5,000 followers on my page, right? Mainly it's because I ride bikes, I ride motorcycles, and most of those people are
in the bike community.
Right. So if I was only posting about, you know, my travel and trips and, you know, a picture here and a picture there, would I have all those followers? Probably not. And I would be okay with that.
And the audience will probably look different anyways.
Yeah.
You find your audience, and people find you, like you said, based off of
a common interest or, you know, something like that. Yeah. So I think not only like curating your own personal social media, but curating like the people that you follow or the accounts that you follow. To me, that's more important, because it can play a huge role in your mental and your psyche. Like I mentioned earlier, like within probably about a year and a half ago, I was scrolling and all I was seeing was stuff about how men ain't ish. I was going through some things at the time, right? So that was all that I was seeing. But it got so much to the point where I was like, I am tired of seeing and hearing this all day long. So I had to curate my feed. I had to, you know, they say that the algorithm is always listening. So I would just start talking about different things. I would. And it worked. Like, literally, it worked. So
that's so real, though. Like, if you are getting like a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want, you just got hold on. I was about to say something about sugar daddies, but I was like, let me not.
I think it's funny. Go ahead. I think it's funny.
I was like, wait, maybe they don't want to see that side
That's
of me.
okay. Listen, authentic self.
Maybe you get that curated feed of like men ain't ish and all this other stuff, and all the men that's broke and all that other stuff, and then you just start whispering to your phone, sugar daddy.
Like, listen,
I need somebody to fund my lifestyle. And then next thing you know, you're getting ads and all that. Okay. Exactly that. Like, but like you said, as a marketer, trust me, they are listening.
Yeah.
I promise you they are.
I have confirmed that your phone or your devices are always listening.
All of them. Your
don't say
Amazon
her.
girl name.
Don't say her name.
Yeah, she listening to you too. Everybody is listening. Okay,
yeah.
So just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it's important to curate your feed and make sure that you're following the right accounts. That, like, for me personally, I know that I want to consume media that's only going to make me want to be a better person. So uplifting, right? So uplifting, affirmations, and things like that. So, and motivational content and stuff like that. So again, you just have to be mindful of the pages you're following, the content you're engaging with, like liking, commenting
exactly.
on.
That's what I was about
that.
to say.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you talked a bit about what social media looked like for you as it first started to come about and things like that. With that, do you think that the comparison aspect on social media is more my generation focused, or do you think that you guys may have had that?
Like it's always been like that?
Right.
I definitely think it's more now than it was back then. Like I said, I think I first got on Facebook because that was really the first major like social media platform, outside of like websites like Black Planet, and I don't even know. I think I talked about that
You
before.
did, but when you say that name, it sounds like a crazy name.
Yeah, we won't even go into that. But that was really probably like the first.
Did you have a MySpace?
I did have a MySpace.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about MySpace.
Oh my goodness.
That's so funny. So maybe MySpace was more, but I would say Facebook from almost a relational social media platform. Like I think I first got on Facebook, it was around 2006, 2007 maybe. And like I said, back then it was more connecting with people that you just, you knew, people that you hadn't seen in a while, people that didn't live near you. So it was just a way to reconnect. As social media has grown and morphed, because even back then we weren't posting pictures like that. We didn't have Instagram back then. So we weren't posting pictures as much. It was mostly just text and, hey, this is what I'm doing today.
Statuses.
Yeah.
Right.
So now it's, a lot of videos, photos, it's more visual. So I think that's where a lot of like the comparisons and seeing how other people are living,
Right.
like nobody's going to type a whole paragraph about I went on this vacation and this is where we went today. And, but you see that in photos and videos.
Right.
So I think in today's age, and definitely I would say probably the last 5 to 10 years is where social media really just blew up with the visual aspect of it, which I think has in line and turned into what it is today, and, how it can be, to the point where people are comparing themselves to others, celebrities. You would have never 20 years ago compared your life to a celebrity's life.
Yeah. And it's like, why do we do that? Celebrities are in a whole nother
tax bracket.
Right. And just ballpark period. And it's like, I think social media makes people think that everybody's just that more attainable.
That they're just as accessible.
Right. Accessible is the word.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, and I saw a thread about this a while ago, but basically people were saying that men, are so used to seeing the baddies on Instagram and all that other stuff that when they come across a girl that's normal, they expect her to embody and wear makeup and have a BBL and all this other stuff. And it's like, back then, before social media really got to popping, you would see 1 or 2 baddies in your lifetime.
Right.
Okay. And you would see the baddie, think about her for the rest of your life, and that would be done. But you wouldn't like carry that into your dating life or the next person that you were in a relationship or something like that. Because again, social media just makes it, like you said, so much more accessible for people to see people that you normally wouldn't see on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, why are you comparing your life to a celebrity? Be for real.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say it's unfortunate. I think for me, I don't look at it from that aspect, but I like having the accessibility to people that I admire or, people like movie actors. The first person that came to mind was like Nia Long, like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And, she's so poised and, even outside of her acting and her movies, just seeing a glimpse into their lives.
Right. Because before, outside of social media, you wouldn't typically have
never would have had the opportunity.
Aside from like interviews in like 106 in Park and things like that. Like you wouldn't get, like you said, the glimpse into their lives that we're getting now.
Yeah.
So,
and it's more personable and they make, they make it seem like, and they're just people, they're people just like us.
Right.
So I think from that aspect, I like it. I don't like how people, try to use it as a way to, make themselves and feel inferior, basically, like, oh, they're up here with this status. And it's like, why are you even comparing yourself? Right? Like, you have your own life.
Right.
Worry about that. Focus on that. Deal with that. Do what makes you happy. That shouldn't have anything to do with how a celebrity lives or an influencer who has now celebrity status because of social media.
Gosh. Yeah. And it's like, why are y'all trying to replicate that too?
Everybody's trying to go viral and everybody's trying to get paid.
And everybody's trying to be like somebody else. Like you said with Nia Long, there's only going to be one Nia Long in this lifetime, baby.
Yeah.
There's not going to be another one. Beyonce definitely ain't going to be another one of those.
For sure.
So it's like these people, these celebrities have worked very hard, obviously, to get to where they are. And it's like to think that you, can just do whatever just to kind of, you know what I mean, get to be the next Nia Long or the next Beyonce. Babes, get your ducks in a row and do what you want, but stay in your own lane almost. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that kind of sounds harsh, but I'm saying it in a way to be like, you can have
You're just as great.
You're just as great.
In a different way.
Be your own self.
Yeah.
So if your name is Brandon Paul, be the best Brandon Paul there ever was.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't be Morris Chestnut because you could never.
Listen.
Okay? Be the Brandon Paul that you dream and desire to be. You don't have to be like somebody else to achieve greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll wrap up our points here and just say that, you know, again, it's very important to be mindful of how much time you're spending on social media. And if you feel like you're just doing too much scrolling and you can't get a break, it might be time to do a detox. It might be time to go ahead and wrap that up.
And it could be just you start small.
Yes, because if you try to set the expectation that, okay, I'm going to go without social media for a week, one, it's very unrealistic. And with habits like that, to just
cut it off,
cold turkey it, it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, start small. Like, okay, I'm not going to touch my phone for an hour or 30 minutes, whatever that looks like for you, but make it manageable so that you don't feel so like you're taking something away that you need. I mean, that's where the desire comes from. It's like, oh my God, I'm fiending for it. Like you start
dopamine.
reaching.
That's exactly what it is. It's dopamine.
Yeah.
So some of y'all need a dopamine detox and y'all don't even realize. I watched a video about this too, and I'll put the link in the description about a dopamine detox. We're literally squeezing the last little bit of dopamine out of our brain when we're trying to scroll on social media and I'll just for another hour, another 30 minutes. The dopamine is exhausted. You're depleted. You are at 1% and you're literally just squeezing the last little bit of juice out of the dopamine that you already had. And then you wonder why you can't focus when you work. You don't have the motivation to do stuff. You done depleted all your dopamine just scrolling on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
it's hard though.
It is hard. Especially when you're addicted and it is just second nature to just grab your phone.
And most of us don't even know that we're addicted. Like you don't even realize, like if you were to try to take that 30 minutes or that hour, okay, I'm not going to, touch my phone or I'm not going to get on this app or that app until you actually are in it and trying to do it. And it's like, oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. Or you're thinking, you might not actually do it, but you're thinking about doing it the whole time. That's just as bad, right? So like give yourself some grace. Like it's going to be difficult, but I think it's necessary to just make sure that you're not, in a space where you're just literally on your phone or device or whatever all day long. You're robbing yourself of life.
Literally.
Yeah.
The amount of time that you're spending scrolling. What about that thing that you've been saying that you've been meaning to do? You've been saying that you've been wanting to do X, Y, and Z, but you're scrolling on TikTok, Instagram. Girl, put the phone down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we say that lovingly.
Right.
She sounded a little harsh there, but we say that lovingly.
Just a little bit of tough love, because somebody, okay, I'm gonna beat you over the head, but I'm gonna rub the boo boo after. But yeah, set boundaries, and if that looks like I said, the things that I mentioned earlier, putting a time limit on your phone, black and white, whatever, or even turn off the notifications. That was something that I did in the beginning too. Instagram will send you a notification for anything.
Yeah.
A lot of those apps do. And again, it just
and
goes
do you
back,
need to know?
You don't.
No.
But it just goes back to it's made to be addicting. All the notifications that you're getting, they want you to open your phone, click on the notification and see what it's about.
Yeah. So
if you got to limit those notifications, turn them off, set boundaries there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm done. I'm getting off my soapbox.
Okay.
For that specifically. But I will also say something that I've been kind of leaning more into recently, especially as we've been doing this podcast. And of course we have goals and things like that. And I think everybody to some degree. I was going to say, if you are someone who's more on the creative side and things like that, and you have endeavors and stuff like that, I think we all have goals and things that we want to achieve in some kind of way. Create more than you consume. Okay? Because you find yourself, like I said, you have your goals, you have your things you want to work on, but you're scrolling on social media. How is it going to get done?
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's important to, even that, if you said that as your mantra, create more than you consume.
I like that.
Because like I said, it could look like anything. I mean, some people could be artists, some people could be music makers, some people could be podcasters, influencers on social media. Everybody in some kind of way is creating. And I think as humans, that's what we're here to do. I mean, we have created this whole, sometimes I don't like it, but we done created jobs. We done created, all these systems in place for us to taxes and all this other stuff that I'd be complaining about. But, essentially we're here to create and, be the creator and not the consumer. Obviously the creators are putting things out for the consumer, but everybody can't do it.
True.
And everybody won't do it. So why let that be yourself, be the one that's falling into the millions of people that are consuming?
Yeah.
Get out there, create, and live in your creative expression. You know what I mean? That sounds so poetic. Okay. But yeah, I think that's important. And that can also help you step into reclaiming your identity again. Yeah.
Like finding your purpose.
Right. And I think that's something we all struggle with, especially at my age. It's like we don't know.
It's not just your age.
Yeah. Speaking from my perspective, though, like at this age, we really are all just figuring it out. And it's like, how are you going to know or find out your purpose and things like that?
Yeah.
If you're not putting forth the effort.
Yeah. And a lot of it is trial and error, just trying different things and seeing, I wouldn't say like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, but, just trying to find creative ways to determine what you think your purpose in life or on this earth is or should be. And I'm not saying that that's easy because, sometimes I still question, like what my purpose is. And I think I have a set of purposes, not just one thing. So there's different things and things that that give me drive and passion to do certain things. Right. But yeah, I think that's what like the whole being creative and create more than you consume. Find your purpose, find your passion. And a lot of times that will turn into you wanting to spend more time to do those things.
And it forces you to find that individuality within yourself. You learn your own skills, your own talents and things like that. And you find in what ways can I best use it and show up as my best self in that way instead of trying to be like somebody else. Yeah.
And I think it also can help you find like your community, like those common interests and things that you're passionate about. I can promise you there's going to be others out there that are also passionate about some of those things. So it's a good way to, make friends or to find your community. It might not be someone that y'all are going to be besties or whatever. But, we can talk about this one thing that we really like with us doing this podcast. I feel like it has turned into a passion. I feel like we both, before we did it, we kind of knew that we wanted to do, but we didn't talk about it. So we kind of found, I won't say found each other, but because we've always been together, but we found that common goal between us to start this. So be vocal about your passion and what you think, your purpose is. Because sometimes there's people out there who also have that, but you don't know because you don't talk about it.
Right. Exactly.
Social media can probably help you with that too.
Set boundaries though. 2-hour limit. Okay. Talk to the people you need to talk to and get up off there.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the habit of doom scrolling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Life, like you said, passes you by at that point.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any final thoughts as we wrap up today's episode?
I don't think so. I think it was a good one. It was good to kind of reflect back on like early days of social media and what that looked like and how for me it all started and kind of like the purpose of what, for me social media was back then, but to also see how it has grown and morphed and it's its own complete beast now. So good, bad, or indifferent, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that just gives people more of a reason to find that autonomy and get out there and create.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is, just find things that can replace your time scrolling. So whether that's working out, journaling, working on your craft, whatever that is, set some time to work on those things that you're passionate about, like you said, and be mindful. Like, it's easier said than done for sure, because once you fall into the habit of scrolling, you don't even realize you're doing it. But mindfulness is going to take you far when it comes to something like this. So
definitely. I agree.
All right. I would like to end the episode on an encouraging note, and I got to read it, so don't talk about me. We don't have to let social media define who we are or how we feel about ourselves. Let's take control, set boundaries, and focus on what really matters, which is real life connection, creativity, and self-love.
So, having said that, let us know in the comments, how are you going to create more and consume less? I think that we, all need to spend a little time thinking about that and, formulate our own call to action, basically. So drop down in the comments and let us know how you plan to do that. We've shared a few of our own suggestions. Let us know if those work for you, or if you have suggestions that we haven't mentioned. We certainly would like to hear those. So
for sure.
Absolutely. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with your family and friends. You can find us on YouTube at the Mother Daughter Mixtape. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at the MD, M as in Mother, D as in Daughter Mixtape. And then you can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. Bye. Guys.